the manager crushed it today. He crushed it today. Maybe you were nervous when Matthew Boyd is being taken out in the fifth. When we saw that Daniel Palencia was warming up in the Cubs half of the fourth, I was like, boy, that's aggressive. The playoffs are a time for aggression, folks. They are a time for aggression. Everything is high leverage. Inning number one is high leverage. Your even or ahead guys, as Joe Madden used to call them, they are in play from out number 1 to out number 27. And all of a sudden, the stuff that Craig Counsell has spouted since he's been here, you get a chance to see it and feel it in crunch time. In September, it's supposed to be Craig-tember, and now here in game one of his Cubs playoff career, where he just calls them out-getters, and he refuses to acknowledge whether somebody is the closer, somebody's the seventh inning guy, the eighth inning guy. Even in postgame today, it was asked, how'd you feel about Matthew Boyd and why'd you take him out at 4 1/3? Was it about facing Fernando Tatis and the righties at the top of the order for a third time? Because that's what I thought when I saw Daniel Palencia warming up in the fourth. I was like, wow, he doesn't want Matthew Boyd to face Tatis for a third time. The third time through the order stuff, we know it's a factor. We know it's a big deal as to why teams go with openers in the first place, and things like that. But here he is, and that is indeed what happened. Matthew Boyd went 4 1/3 and did not face Fernando Tatis or Manny Machado for a third time. Those were Daniel Palencia's guys, and he got it done. But everything is high leverage, and the inning and 2/3 from Daniel Palencia in the middle of the game, I'm so glad he got the win. It's one of those times where the win, as it goes to the reliever who happens to be pitching when the team takes the lead, it's nice that it went to Palencia. I'd be totally cool if it went to Matthew Boyd, and that brings about a different kind of statistical conversation that so many in the game would like to have about maybe the official scorer should just assign the win now that they use openers and bullpen guys so aggressively instead of a starter having to go through 5. Because you could argue that Matthew Boyd deserves that win. But anyway, it goes to Daniel Palencia on the books. That inning and 2/3 was huge. Gave up a deep fly and a hard fly ball as well. But otherwise, straight gas that struck out some very difficult hitters. And he goes an inning and 2/3, which gets you to the 7th. And that means you can go Pomerantz, and then Kittredge, and then Keller. And folks, 4 2/3 perfect innings for the Cubs bullpen. Man, give it up for Craig Counsell and his slew of outgetters. The unit is how Andrew Kittredge referred to the bullpen guys. The unit is how he describes them. And we can listen to that at some point if we want to. But let's just.
What was it like?
Yeah, should we listen to it? We can listen to Andrew Kittredge. But here's the thing. I guess we got to just get to it. Alex, instead, let's just talk about what's happening here, which is this. Andrew Kittredge is going to start tomorrow's game. And you're like, wait a minute. I thought it was Shota Imanaga. If you're watching the marquee post game, Matthew Boyd on the field with Elise Menaker. When asked about the chance to close it out tomorrow, Boyd says, well, I feel great. You know, with Shota, anytime Shota's on the mound, we feel great. He thought it was going to be Shota Imanaga. How many of his teammates thought it was going to be Shota? Did Craig tell them it was going to be Shota, or did everybody just assume, like you and I did? Folks, it's a bullpen game. And Craig Counsell in his post-game did not answer the question when asked about tomorrow's starter, and maybe that was our clue. Because then the Cubs announced, after Craig was done, that it's Andrew Kittredge. And you're like, oh my God, the manager is going with a bullpen game in game 2 of the playoffs. Do you trust him? Do you trust your bullpen? You trusted him today. You're thrilled with how it went today. Did you trust him before today? Managers are built to be questioned. These processes are built to be questioned. But it worked today. And remember, folks, it is a different time in Major League Baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers won a World Series game last year by using a bullpen. They used a bullpen game in the World Series, and it worked. The idea is that you collect 6 or 7 absolute bat-missing killers in your bullpen, and you attack the opposition based on matchups and freshness of arms and guys throwing at 100% instead of letting starters face somebody for the second time or the third time. God forbid the third time, like Matthew Boyd didn't even get to do today. You may not like it. It may be uncomfortable. Some players don't like it. Some starting pitchers don't like it. But this is the way of the game. And when you sign up for Craig Counsell as your manager, you're signing up for the modern Major League Baseball paradigm. So here you are, game on. To me, it's fascinating. And I want to talk about it with you. We've got a lot to get to. You'll hear from Andrew Kittredge. You'll hear from Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell was on the Spiegel and Holmes show last week and gave an answer to a question that, if you ask me, kind of presages this big decision about tomorrow's game, too. So we'll get to that as well. Your phone calls are welcome at 312-644-6767. We are just getting rolling with a Spiegel and Holmes hit and run hybrid late afternoon, early evening experience on the heels of the Cubs' first home playoff game since 2018 and a win. A win. Nico Hoerner has been great with runners in scoring position. He has phenomenal bat control. He is the third most difficult guy to strike out in all of baseball. Number 1 is Luis Arraez, which is maybe part of why the crowd exploded when Matthew Boyd struck out Luis Arraez today. But Nico Hoerner has terrific bat control and showed it right there, because after the wild pitch to move runners to second and third, he knew he didn't even need to just try to hit a line drive, which he was going to try to do. He knew he just needed to get the ball in the air and sacrifice himself, just make sure he hit a fly ball. And that's what he did. And he drove in Dansby Swanson for an insurance run. And that dude is he is the best. Nico's the best. Speaking of Dansby Swanson, what a brilliant game defensively by Dansby. Guy making $177 million, who is inconsistent offensively, pretty good version of himself offensively this year, and I know that can still be frustrating, but it's a guy with mid-20s homers and a mid-700 OPS who strikes out a lot, but is a great base runner and plays absolutely brilliant defense at one of the most important defensive positions on the field. One of the 3. Catcher, center field, shortstop. And Dansby was phenomenal today. The diving backhand play to keep Xander Bogaerts at third. Matthew Boyd ended up stranding Bogaerts there, a man on third with nobody out, and that felt like a massive escape right there early on for the Cubs against the Padres. And then men at first and third, and Dansby goes back and catches that little looping pop fly like a slot receiver. And that's what I wondered. Did Dansby play football in high school? Huge football fan. Great basketball player. 3-point shooter in high school. I don't know if he played football, but I bet he would have been a really good slot receiver. But anyway, brilliant catch by Dansby and a quick turn, whirls around, throws it back into the infield. Huge game-saving play is what it felt like right there. The news of the day, though, and you're listening to Speegs on the Score, and we'll take your calls in a moment, is that Craig Counsell's going with an opener tomorrow and Andrew Kittredge. And here's the thing, as many of you have texted in, that doesn't mean that Shota Imanaga won't come in second and be the bulk guy. And I've been calling it a bullpen game. Maybe it will be Shota. Because the bullpen games usually work like this. You go for the best matchup of somebody you don't want to save for the later innings early on. You want to go with that best matchup against the top 3 hitters for the opposition. And if Mike Schilt and the Padres go with Tatis at 1 and Machado at 3, then the idea is that Kittredge gets them the first time around, and then your bulk guy could maybe go 3 times through the order or 2.8 times through the order and not have to face those top-of-the-order guys for that third time. So maybe that would be Shota Imanaga. Maybe then Shota comes in and only has to get through, ideally, Tatis and Machado twice to get all the way into the 5th or maybe even the 6th inning. But here's the thing. Shota's never pitched out of the bullpen in the major leagues. 29 starts last year, 25 starts this year, and that's how many games he has played. Has he been a bullpen guy in the Japanese league? Maybe. I know he started the game-clinching game for Japan in the World Baseball Classic. He started that. So you just got to make sure that Shota's okay with that. Colin Ray is. Aaron Savali is. So maybe those two guys, maybe one of those two guys are your bulk guy. Maybe Colin Ray is your bulk guy. Super comfortable being a bullpen guy, a bulk guy, or being a starter. And Colin Ray was dominant this month, the best strikeout rate of his career this month. So I guess I've been thinking it's going to be Colin Ray, but it could be Shota. It just has to be something you've discussed with Shota, and you got to make sure that he's comfortable in that role. And maybe he is. Shota's an absolute stud, a veteran. I'm a big fan. I thought this was going to be Shota's start tomorrow, and I was cool with it. I was down with it. I was ready. Maybe because they have the win, Craig is feeling a little emboldened to do it this way. It's going to be fascinating. Let's talk about it with you at 312-644-6767. Let's start with Rich on the road. Rich, you are on Spiegel and Holmes, which is going to morph into hit and run. It is Cubs post after a victorious first playoff game at Wrigley Field. What's up, Rich? How are you?
Oh, man, what a great day. Absolutely perfect. Weather, perfect. Crowd, perfect. Game, perfect. The main thing I was going to say is I was back at, I think it was the NLCS back in 2016, where Miguel Montero hit, I think it was a grand slam in the 8th inning. It was at least a home run, and the volume in that place was matched today. Like, the energy was crazy. And you had brought up about Boyd getting pulled so early, and I was sitting with my son, talk about a father-son experience, and we were like, wow, there's like 55 pitches. What the heck is going on? And I said, this better work. If it doesn't work, then everyone's going to crucify Craig Counsell. But it was just an absolutely perfect day. The energy was palpable, and the vibes were amazing. I never call and talk to you guys. I love your show. I listen to it all the time. But today was just amazing.
Thank you, Rich, for the call, man. Yeah, the vibes were immaculate. They really were. Just perfect late September baseball vibes on a day that felt like July. I remember that grand slam from Shota Imanaga in the from Miguel Montero in the 2016 NLCS. I remember how loud it was. I'm not going to say that today necessarily rivaled that or some of the other times I've been in that ballpark. I'm blessed to have been there for some unbelievable times when Kyle Schwarber homered onto the top of the right field scoreboard against the Cardinals in the 2015 NLDS. I mean, and the end of that game, I get chills thinking about it because it was such a big moment and a big series. But, there was an energy and a loudness and a vitality to the crowd today that was really special. I tweeted at Matt Spiegs, S-P-I-E-G-S. I tweeted a video after the Carson Kelly home run. They were giving out towels today, and from the press box, I shot a quick video of the stands, and you can go check it out. And that was, it was unbelievable. And after Seiya's home run just before that, it was incredible. A texter earlier made the comp of the Seiya home run to Chris Bryant's homer in Game 5 of the World Series in 2016. And I love that thought and that comp because it was a very specific thing, that Bryant home run. Cubs were down 3-1 in that series and seemed dead. And that Bryant home run brought back the crowd. It brought back belief, seemingly, on the ball club, or it just felt that way anyway. And the explosion was very special. I was blessed to have been in the ballpark for that one. So the Seiya home run, it showed you that maybe the bats could be awake.